Well, here's one thing that didn't get postponed by this pandemic. As with seasons 1 and 2, I'm going to give you a spoiler warning. If you are not completely caught up on Siren, you might not want to watch this, unless you don't care, in which case, hi. Alright, let's talk about some Siren. Siren Season 3. Yes, sir, we are 3 seasons deep into Siren, the hit show on Freeform about mermaids, or sirens, or whatever they're called. And this season was better than Season 2, yeah. First of all, it's shorter. Season 2 was 16 episodes. Season 3 took it back to Season 1 and was just 10 episodes. And whereas Season 2 felt like a bunch of subplots were there, but no plot was like the main one, because that's how Season 2 felt to me. Bunch of subplots, but they all shared focus. None of them was like the big main plot, the main focus. Season 3, being shorter, has more time to focus on its main plot, which is its new villain, Tia, and also Rin's new baby. So yeah, Season 3 of Siren, we got a new villain in town, Tia. She arrives on the scene and she's got a bad plan. And that's where I'm gonna give this season props first. Tiffany Lonsdale does a great job as Tia. She's a mermaid from another tribe who was held in a Russian facility for like 10 years, I think she said. They treated her terribly, they took her song away. You know, she was a guinea pig to them. So of course, when she breaks out, she's like, alright, I'm gonna kill you all. She's a worse villain than Katrina from Season 2, and I thought Katrina was great in Season 2, but Tia's just a little bit smarter. She's a tactician, she's got her plan to get revenge, and she's got it all planned out. She starts by taking over different mermaid tribes all over the world, and ultimately her big plan is to get her siren song back from the Russians and broadcast it on a massive scale so it'll drive all the humans insane and, you know, wipe out humans. And she has the means to do it. She's got the tech, she knows because she was in Russia for 10 years, she learned a lot. So you're like, oh, holy shit, she can actually pull her plan off. Alright, let's stop her. And Tiffany Lonsdale really sells it. And then the other main plot, which is picking up from Season 2, is Rin and her new baby daughter, which they end up naming Hope. But Hope isn't even born until episode 3. And this is just a personal thing with me, but I never liked watching birth scenes. For me, they've just been kind of tough to watch. You know, Friends, How I Met Your Mother, Man of Steel, Revenge of the Sith. However, seeing Rin's first smile as she's holding her new daughter, that was great. It reminded me of Zavin's first smile when she was holding the baby in Runaways Season 3. It was the same kind of deal, you know, a character that's kind of emotionless, and they have their first genuine smile when holding a new baby. It was good. So then you're like, okay, we're gonna spend this season raising a new baby. And then it's like, nope, because Levi and that other male mermaid, they come on land, they're like, alright, we've come to take this baby away. We're gonna take her to the water, teach her how to hunt, and then she's gonna grow really fast. Of course, you know, I do get why they took the baby away for a couple episodes, so we could focus on some other shit. Like Katrina. Katrina in this season, oh man. It was cool to see her again just walking around in episode 2 when Xander saw her at the academy. Xander just sees Katrina walking the streets and you're like, oh shit, that's right, Katrina. And then Tia gets some FaceTime with Katrina and you're like, oh man, this can't end well. At first you would think, oh, Katrina would just be loyal to Rin because that's how it works in their tribes. But nah, Tia convinces Katrina, she's like, nah, your mindset is more like mine, let's team up here. Plus you used to be part of my tribe, I guess, when you were younger. I didn't know that. So come back to your family, your rightful family, your true family, and let's take Rin out for good. So that scene in the water where Katrina swears loyalty to Tia by changing her colors, I was like, alright, I guess she can do that, evidently. But it was cool, because I like Villain Katrina. So Villain Katrina with awesome Villain Tia, good team up right there. Badass bad gals. So then there's that episode on the island, it's the 6th episode of the season, where they all go over there, Ben, Xander, Rin, and a couple of other mermaids in Rin's tribe. They have this big fight with another tribe with these spears, and it gets to the point, this is awesome, where Rin has Katrina down, she's got her spear pointed at her, and she offers her hand, she's like, come back, man, you're a good person, right? And this was a big shocker to me. Katrina's like, never. She takes Rin's spear and just slits her own throat with it. I was like, ugh. It's like she would rather die than side with Rin again? Really? It kind of seemed anticlimactic. Well, not anticlimactic, it was just, yeah. Maybe the writers were like, okay, Katrina has no place in the story anymore, so let's just kill her off, because Tia needs to rise up as the big bad villain here. And sure enough, that is exactly what happened. One of my favorite new characters that was introduced this season is Rob Wellens. This guy is awesome. You see him in the first episode of this season, he's giving this lecture on environmentalism and cleaning up the oceans, and Maddie goes to meet him, and so the more time you spend with this guy, the more you're like, you know what, I like this guy, he's just a likable dude. And then he and Maddie form something of a relationship, and you don't hate it. Or at least I didn't hate it. You know, you would think, you know, Maddie's supposed to be with Ben and Rin, you know, it's supposed to be them, but, you know, Maddie's getting along with Rob, and you're like, nah, that's fine because Rob is a cool dude. And even the way Ben reacts to it. I mean, it started off, Maddie got pissed off at Ben because of what he did at the end of season 2, you know, leaving that news reporter to die. So Maddie got pissed off, so that caused the first rift with them. And then Maddie meets Rob, and so she decides to go for him instead. And Ben seems perfectly fine with it. And honestly, I'm fine with that. Because it's understandable. Because Rin sympathizes with Ben because she was there when Ben left Ian to die. Maddie was not, so she can leave Ben to be with Rob, and now just Ben and Rin can be together. So it all works out. But, they can all still be friends and work together to stop Tia. I just thought that whole thing was handled very maturely, and I like that. And then the big reveal when Rin meets Rob for the first time, she instantly knows. She's like, he's from another tribe. When I saw that for the first time, I was watching it on TV as it aired. I was like, what? He's all like, it's true. I'm one of them. I was like, no way. You find out he left his tribe, which is up in Alaska, to go and try to save the oceans and shit. That led him to Seattle, to Bristol Cove, to the gang. So now we're like, hey, can we go meet your tribe so maybe they can help out with the whole Tia thing? So they fly to Alaska to meet Rob's tribe. I think it's episode 7 this season. And that was also really cool. Yura and the others, I like their look. It's Alaska, so they got fur coats and their eyes are a really cool color. But the big thing is they have this pool because all the mermaids in that tribe are born female. And so they have this pool that when they come of age, some of them can turn male. You know how some species do in nature, like it was explained in Jurassic Park. Some species out there actually do go through sex changes. But then you're like, okay, so Rob was born female. That's just, it felt like unnecessary to the main story, but it was interesting. Cause nature and shit. It was cool. So they clean that pool up because they're smart environmentalists. And Yura goes in and goes through the sex change. She comes out a man and he's all like, we will keep our word. We will help you in your fight. And I was like, all right, that was really cool. However, there are a couple of subplots in this season that I was still not a huge fan of. I gotta say it. This season is overall really good, but Ben's injections just grossed me out. They did. Yeah, Ben's mom, Elaine, is still going through treatment using the stem cells from mermaid corpses, but they ran out of stem cells, so Ben finds a new corpse, and he's like, before we test them on my mother, I'm gonna test them on myself. Why not? And look, I understand that this is not the show's problem, it's my problem, because I've always had a phobia of needles. My entire life I've had that. So whenever it goes to Ben injecting himself with the mermaid stem cells, I'm like, I don't want to watch that. But it does prove to be successful. Ben is going through some major changes in his DNA. He's becoming more like a mer person. He's got faster reflexes, he's got Superman hearing, but the biggest change is that he can now hold his breath underwater for a long time, which frankly is another thing that kind of grossed me out, because that would mean his lungs are enormous, and I just don't want to picture that ever, because that's just not right, and it just skees me out. My true sympathy for any of you out there who actually do have legitimate lung problems, because that must be tough. And so throughout the season, they keep cutting to Ben doing injections on himself through like most of the season, and his purpose for doing it ends up changing. At first he was doing it to see if it would work on his mother, but then he ends up doing it for Rin so he can be with her. He and Rin, they go underwater and they're all happy together, which was a great scene, sure, but it doesn't stop me from thinking that Ben this season is just out of his mind. He's crazy. And towards the end of the season, Ben and Rin are having this conversation about their future, and they decide that, yeah, Rin can just stay on land and they can raise hope together and they can be a happy family. So they're like, okay, let's do that. And so they throw out all the rest of the stem cells, and I was like, phew. Thank God that's over. But then that plan just went to shit, because they're at Calvin and Janine's wedding, which was also great, by the way. That was a great proposal scene in the beginning. I'm very happy for those two side characters. And the wedding dance scene was also really fun. But anyway, Ben and Rin are at the wedding, and Rin pretty much changes her mind. She's like, nah, I don't belong here. I belong in the water. That's my true home. And Ben can't argue with that, because he's like, I can't ask you to stay here for me. I can't do that. So they vow to be in each other's hearts forever, and it's all sad, but you're like, at least the injections are over. One other subplot that I found kind of weird this season is Helen's, because all of a sudden she's having visions of Sarge, who got his neck sliced in season 2. Helen's having visions of Sarge and of Donna, and it turns out that their spirits are coming back somehow, like Force ghosts, to which I was like, okay, like, seriously? That was a little too silly for me. But they come back with the warning. Sarge is like, war is coming. Of course, he's talking about Tia and her whole master plan, which I'll get to the finale in just a minute. But the last subplot I want to talk about is Xander. He's training at this academy to be a cop. He makes a new friend, Annie Brennan. And you're like, all right, yeah, cool. This is a cool friendship. Even when Annie sees Levi and that other guy drag the baby into the water, and she's like, holy shit, what just happened? All right, I'm going to call the cops. And Xander has to make the hard call and not stick up for Annie. You're like, oh man, that sucks, but I totally get it. That was tough. That was tough to watch, I'm not gonna lie, because that blew. But then Xander's at the wedding because he's the best man. He gets a call on his phone, he answers it, and then he gets nailed with the siren song, and he goes, ah, and he just faints. Tia has made it to the point where she has the siren song now, and she disguises it as an emergency call. Everyone in Bristol Cove gets calls, and it's a terrorist attack. The hospital starts getting flooded with new patients. All these people got siren song calls, so now they're in comas, they're bleeding from their ears. That's never good. And it's Maddie who comes up with the idea of, hey, maybe Rob has a cave like that was in season 2, with the ancestral voices that can apparently cure someone of the effects of the siren song. Tia blew up the one from season 2, which again, smart, her being a tactician. But Maddie's like, hey, maybe Rob's tribe has one just like it. And so they get it really fast, like in the course of 5 minutes. You're like, oh, okay, well, that's like final season of Game of Thrones kind of rushed. You would think they would show the whole thing of Robb going over there, recording the thing, and getting it back to Maddie, but no, it just happens just like that in 5 minutes. That was very rushed. But they have the cure now, so they use it on Xander. Xander gets better, and then there is the war. The final war between Rin and Robb's tribes against Tia's tribes. So they have a big clash underwater. It's really cool, albeit pretty short. Again, kind of rushed. Because Rin sees Tia. Tia's like, I'm coming for you, and then Rin just stabs her twice, just boom, boom. You're like, okay, well, I guess Tia's dead. That happened very fast. I mean, that war lasted like 5 minutes. And then after Tia's defeat, it shows Rin and you're like, oh shit. Is she now like the new leader of everyone? Because it shows all the mermaids and they all start bowing to her and you're like, that is really awesome. There's a scene where Rin's talking to her daughter. She's like, Tia was hoping to fix the world, but she had the wrong methods. Together, we are going to fix the world with love. I was like, that's great, because that's entirely correct. It did really suck that Dale, Maddie's father, was nailed with the siren song and he couldn't make it to the hospital in time, so he died. And Maddie shows up on the scene and she breaks down, starts crying, and I was like, this sucks. Even though Dale was hardly in this season at all, I still felt really bad for Maddie. That's her dad, you know? So the season ends with Maddie is going to go with Robb to do some cleaning ocean shit. They'll be back later. Meanwhile, Rin is gonna go look for Ben because Ben was down there when that whole war was going on because he can hold his breath underwater for a long time. But he didn't come back with everyone else, so we're like, where's Ben? Is he missing? Is he dead? What the fuck happened to Ben? He's not dead. I can tell you that. Come on, he's one of the main characters. He's not dead. My guess is since he stopped doing the injections, their effect was starting to wear off on him. So he pretty much went through what Fitz went through at the end of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 1. So he's gonna have traumatic brain damage and he's not gonna know how to function properly. So maybe Season 4 can be him recovering from that, but that's just my theory. It shows Ben's perfect vision of him and his family, you know, Rin and Hope. I was like, this is nice. Very pristine White House. And then it shows Ben like underwater. He's floating, I think, to the surface. I don't know, it was a very out of focus shot. But it was cool, I like it. It was a good cliffhanger for Season 4. It shows Rin having her little mermaid moment on the rock. She's like, I don't know when, I don't know how, but I'm gonna find Ben right now. Watch and you'll see. So I'm like, okay, bring on Season 4. As of now, there's no announcement of a Season 4 of Siren. I'm pretty sure we all know why. But in the end, Season 3 I thought was really solid. Again, it was shorter than Season 2 so they could focus more on its main plot. Tia was a badass villain. The plot twists and turns this season were really good, really well written. Rest in peace, Dale Bishop. Katrina, I like where this season ended. It was good. It also makes me wonder how old Hope is going to be when Season 4 starts. Is she going to be the same age or in her teens? I don't know. We'll see, I guess. But all in all, great new season of Siren. Much better than Season 2. Still not as good as Season 1, but I'm pretty sure Season 1 is going to be the best season from here on out. I'm all for being proven wrong, but we'll see. So, Siren Season 3. Have you watched it? What do you think about it? And what is your favorite season of Siren so far? And who's your favorite character? Whatever you think, go ahead and leave a comment. And don't forget to subscribe.